President, Conference, apologies for that. We were under the impression it was Wednesday morning, and it wasn't me due to be making the speech, so here goes. Comrades, Martin Cavanagh, ECS, to move this motion on social security, an absolutely critical motion at a time when our union movement really does need to stand up and take on the mantle of defending some of the most vulnerable in our society. We've seen decades now under different administrations, including under previous Labour administrations, decimating staffing, decimating the workforce, decimating the conditions of service, making it more and more difficult for those who have to claim benefits, whether it's disability benefits or in-work benefits, not only having the choice and the ability to claim that much-needed financial support in the first place, but then being able to continue to receive that much-needed support. We saw earlier this year an absolutely despicable announcement by the Secretary of State for the Department for Work and Pensions that they were agreeing to what they call a Job Centre Innovation Pilot, where they were genuinely trying to incentivise our members to make it more difficult for people to claim and keep the benefits that they desperately need. Well, Congress, our union has always been at the forefront of demanding a better, fully resourced social security system. It's always been at the forefront of demanding that those who absolutely need our support, absolutely need the ability to be able to make ends meet at the time of poverty, at the time of disability or sickness, get that support at day one. It should never be a punitive system like it is now. It shouldn't be one that is there to try and make it more difficult for people to get help. It should be absolutely, from day one, a system that is there to support, that is there to help and generate a genuine understanding of what people go through at the time of most need. And comrades, our members, when we organise, when we mobilise, have been at the forefront of fight back on a despicable conditionality and sanctions regime. And I want to applaud the work that we've done with our brothers and sisters in the Unite community, not only in terms of conferences on social security, but absolutely being at the forefront of advising claimants and claimant groups about how they can get round some of the worst aspects of the modern social security system. But comrades, let's be clear about this. It's not just the Tories that need to wake up and smell the coffee on this. Every single politician who sees anyone who claims benefits as a scrounger, as somebody who is a blight on the state, quite frankly, needs to sod off. Because these people aren't scroungers. These people aren't scroungers. And if you needed any more advice or any more notice of that, see what happened during the pandemic, when virtually overnight, 2.5 million people were plunged into absolute desperation. They needed the support of the Department for Work and Pensions. They needed the support of our members. And they absolutely were grateful for us bending over backwards and many of our members putting their own lives and their families' lives at risk to provide that much-needed support. Extra records of benefit paid, 2.5 million new claims for universal credit processed, and a social security system that we demanded remove conditionality and sanctions, and for 6 months we achieved that for the first time in the last 20 years, comrades. Our members were allowed to provide that help and support to those at the most difficult time. But that should not be something just for a pandemic. That should be something that we aspire to day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out. Those who need social security and the provision of social security should be able to get it in the same way that everyone should be able to access free healthcare, free education at day one at the point of need. So, comrades, I will finish with this. If we as a movement can't understand that those members of ours who have to claim benefits because their salaries are so low are in exactly the same boat as those who have had to claim benefits permanently because they can't find work or are too sick or disabled to be in work. If we as a movement don't grasp that concept, then we are failing, we are letting those people down, and we are letting future generations down. A proper, fully funded social security system that stays within the public sector and stays within the civil service, that is absolutely based on providing help, support and confidence at the point of need from day one right the way through that journey, is something that we all need to demand and will continue to demand. Our union comrades will be at the forefront of it. It's our members who have to deliver it. But I urge every single union, every single trade unionist, not just in this room, but back in the workplaces, to get behind that campaign, to get behind PCS and our members, to try not to allow others to scapegoat our members, to say that they are the problem. They are not the problem. The Tories are the problem. Any right-wing politician who sees that those who claim benefits as a blight are the problem, they're the ones who should step aside and move on. We will provide a system. We as a movement demand it. We will get there. Cheers, comrades.
Is it Equity to second?
Cool. Right. Hi, everyone. Paul Valentine from Equity. Like my PCS colleague, I was expecting this to be on Wednesday. So guess who hasn't written a speech? Yes! So, in true Equity tradition, improv. That's what we've got right now. Thanks. So essentially, I mean, obviously we're seconding this motion because, again, we're kind of what we're doing really is we're taking this from the sort of creative freelance angle, because obviously for us as sort of, I guess, atypical workers as well, a lot of our work, I'm an actor in a union, creative workers, we've all got sort of different freelance portfolio careers, that kind of thing. So we've naturally, our members need the social security net, because we'll do our work, we'll drop out of it, we need some extra support, then we'll come back in again. Ironically, actually, I was happy to second this anyway, because I'm also a member of PCS, because I have to have a day job from when I'm not acting. So I work at South Bank Centre, it's the cultural sector. So all that comes in as well. But that partly comes in because our social security net isn't fit for purpose. It is rubbish. And one of the big things that Equity have done is worked with the University of Warwick, and we've sort of been like in conjunction doing sort of research, etc., to show people how useless this system is. And one of the big things that we're pushing towards is the abolition of the minimum income floor, because it just completely skews everything. I won't go into complete detail now because I'm running out of time and I didn't write a speech. But essentially, it's on the motion as to why it really isn't fit for purpose. So I'm gonna wrap this up early, I think. Hooray, because it's almost lunchtime. Please support this Composite and take care, everyone. Cheers.
NUJ.
Thank you, President, Congress, Natasha Hurst, National Union of Journalists. I'm proud to be the first president of my union who is also a lifelong disability activist. I'm also the third speaker in a row who did not prepare a speech because I thought this would be tomorrow. But the NUJ has been doing a huge amount of work around the way in which the press reports on social security and disabled people especially, who have been the target of absolutely horrific, inhumane and hateful rhetoric in some parts of the press over the last few months. And that has come directly from a government that repeatedly treats disabled people with utter contempt. They know that their policies are pushing disabled people into poverty. They know that their policies are cutting away our access to independent living, cutting away our human rights under the UN Convention on the Rights of Disabled People. Just 2 weeks ago, a delegation of disabled people's organisations were in Geneva to submit evidence on the continuous human rights violations of the UK government against disabled people here in the UK. And the UK government did not send anyone to that evidence session. They were not willing to stand up to the scrutiny of an international committee that is there to protect disabled people's human rights from abuse by the state, just like the UK government is doing to us now. So when we're talking about social security, we're talking about people who are in really some of the most difficult situations in their lives where they need that support network of the state. And the UK government is more than happy to just pull the rug and then blame us when we can no longer access employment, when we're not able to work, and just continue with the sanctions and the conditionalities that make our lives just absolutely desperately hard and difficult. So we are appealing to the wider trade union movement, do not forget us. Remember that we need that collective power behind us if we are going to bring the government down on this, because they really do not want to listen. This is just one of a number of areas in which they are continuing to attack us. So please support, but please keep on taking action within your unions and within your workplaces to support disabled people who work, who want to work, but also who can't work and have every right to live happy, secure and healthy lives. Thank you.
Congress Composite 8 is before you. Will all those in favour please show? Put your hands down. All those against? Thank you, Congress.